Hello, my name is Jaspr Chang, and I'm a Sofia alumni.
Jasper, nice meeting you today
Good to
at the
meet you as
global
well.
conference, and then thank you so much for your support. And then, as I mentioned, that I heard a lot about what you do, not enough yet, so that's why I'm here to talk to you, right? To know more about you, yourself, and what you do, and what your vision is.
Mm.
And then, so the first question that I wanted to ask you was, I just asked you earlier, like what brought you to Sofia
Mm.
the first time?
It's a it's a loaded question. I was before Sofia, I was in the mental health field for about 7 years. Right before I was serving as a program director up to crisis intervention prevention teams working with dual diagnosis clients. Dual diagnosis, not mental health and addiction, but mental health and developmental disabilities, so regional center clients. So as I was doing that, I was also something called a whole person's assessments interviewer and writer, where I would go into institutions or psych wards and interview patients, come up with a report, interview the families, anybody that's relevant and relevantly connected to the client, and put together a report with the team and see what they would need to reintegrate into society or the community. Did that for a number of years, got a little bit burnt out. I thought there was more to mental health and more to how we can better help the community beyond the systems that are set in place. So I started searching, and a friend of mine was like, "You should look into transpersonal psychology," because he said that I would really align with it. Um, so I looked it up, and I saw that Sofia used to be ITP, and I did a little bit of research. And as soon as I came here, I was like, wow, I feel almost at home. I feel like I found my tribe.
Mm.
Um, so that was, long story short, how I came to Sofia the first time.
Mm. So you were referred by a friend of you. Was that friend with Sophia at the time, or like why did he just share like transpersonal psychology as Sophia with you?
He wasn't a Sofia student, but he heard about transpersonal psychology. He's a practicing Buddhist. He was also a counselor that was on the team that I led. And so we had developed a friendship talking about philosophy, psychology, the human condition, kind of our dreams, goals, and our lofty ideals. And he just thought that I embodied, or I had the same essence, and he thought I'd be interested. So he told me about it, and I kind of ran with it.
Mm.
And I ended up at Sophia. And I met some really close friends that I still keep in contact today.
Mm.
Um, they're kind of at different places of the world right now.
Mm.
But yeah.
I'm so glad that you chose Sophia to advance your study in transpersonal psychology. And then I wanted to know, like when you got in the program in transpersonal psychology, master's degree program, right? How was your experience? Your peers working with faculty, instructors, how was your experience?
So I knew Sophia was different right off the bat. Just the environment, the energy, the what can you say, the frequency or the vibrations that people had, the topics that people were talking about. I remember I was studying, however, for I think it was James Fadiman's class, um, about psychedelics and transpersonal uses of them. And I was actually studying under a tree in San Jose, and I had this thought that no matter how good I feel connected to this place and learning about transpersonal psychology, I couldn't at the time see the bridge between all of these ideas and everything that I was learning and the people that really needed, who I felt really needed help the most. So, because I came from community mental health, people from all walks of life, whether they were homeless or on the lower socioeconomic strata, or to really affluent families. Mental health doesn't discriminate. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Doesn't matter what race. Doesn't matter what background. So it's a pretty globalized, universal part of the human condition, and it's becoming more and more so because technology is tethering all of us together. But back to the original point, I was studying and I just had this thought, like, there seems to be a disconnect between this academic endeavor of the school and the real life tangible way it can really connect to the community. So I actually dropped out, and I said I'd come back after I see a connection or see a way back in. So, and then I did some soul searching. I traveled to Nepal and India, had a couple odd jobs as a project manager, as an operations manager, left mental health for a bit, pursued writing and music for a while. Not very seriously, more for the introspective process. It's kind of a spiritual thing that I was doing. And then in 2018, I went back into the clinical program, and I finished my MACP degree second time around through the hybrid program.
So the MACP program is more suitable for where your passion is, or what you envision what you want to do in the future.
Yeah, so I'm a clinician now. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm an integration coach as well, and the founder of Kairos, which is a creative mental health nonprofit. So I chose the MACP rather than the academic MATP degree the second time around because I thought it was it sort of was a means to an end. So I would get licensed, I would be able to actually apply and work with people and work as a clinician and give me open the necessary doors through that degree and through the licensure. It was a much more practical, tangible approach, whereas before it was just pure exploration, pure curiosity, and there's value to both. But I told myself I'd go back with a clearer vision of where I wanted to be led after that. So that's what led me to the MACP.
I'm glad that you came back to Sofia, and then now you're just one of our exceptional alumni, of Sofia. So we're so happy to see your vision and then your path and then your success actually. For me personally, it's my first time meeting you, and then the experience of first impression is just amazing. So I wanted to know more about, like, how did you come up with the idea?
Yeah, so I've had this idea for several years now. Maybe, I don't know, 7+ years ago I had this idea. And it was a very personal story because I was always interested in psychology and the human condition. I was always asking questions that I couldn't really answer, but it always fascinated me. I had this deep curiosity for why people are the way they are, why I am the way I am. And my brother and I, we seem to always carry the same essence. So like we're cut from the same cloth, but we have pretty much opposite personalities and personality structures, and we respond to stress in a very different way. And we had a pretty, we grew up together, we had the same parents. Obviously we had different individual experiences, but I was like, I think this goes beyond just our upbringing and our environment. So I thought maybe something as early as the womb and our in utero experience had something to do with it. So the nature aspect of it, even before birth, right? So I asked my mom about her pregnancy experience while I was in utero versus her pregnancy experience while my brother was in utero, and sure enough, she said they were very different, almost the opposite. When she was pregnant with me, she was back in her home country in Korea. She didn't want for anything, no stress. She was well taken care of, very well supported in a familiar home environment. A month after I was born, she immigrated here to the States in a foreign land, started work almost right away, was under a lot of stress. And while she was pregnant with my brother, that stress and that kind of survival mode continued. So she had a very different experience while she was pregnant with my brother versus when she was pregnant with me. So that got me thinking, okay, what is the impact of the in utero experience on a person's life trajectory? And there's tons of research now to support that it's a critical impact. although we're not fated or completely determined by our in utero experience, it does play a huge factor. Of course, there's nurture and epigenetic factors that go into it, that we're not just doomed to whatever happened while we were in, mom's belly, but it does have a critical impact. So all of that tied together, I was thinking, how do I express that without losing people? Because not everyone's gonna scour through a bunch of research, or not everyone's interested in reading articles, because I was a writer as well. But what are some universal ways I can express this? Like, intuitively, this kind of came up, and the universal language of art, music, and dance, body language, those kinds of things. I was like, why don't I just recreate the womb experience? Why people can physically go in and have this unconscious, tap into their unconscious, tap into the embodied, immersive, sensory, tangible experience, rather than just talking about it or seeing about it. Why not engage all of the person, the whole person, if you will, through an immersion? So this is the first launch of it, and we want to scale it and maybe incorporate VR or AR, incorporate projection mapping. The possibilities are pretty much endless. So, but I'm glad we got to launch it here, and in kind of this incubator space to initiate this iteration of the project.
I mean, to me, my experience is just want to just say that it's fascinating. And then at this global mental health conference, and then I believe a lot of people have tried it, and then I know you have the questionnaire for them or survey for them to fill out. But do some people who tried it and share their experience a little bit with you afterwards?
They have, because everyone has individual experiences. Some people that went through it were mothers, and some of them have very vivid memories of their pregnancy while their children were in utero. I'd be interested to see if there were people that are actually pregnant that actually go back into the womb while they have a child in utero. And
Wow.
I'd be interested and fascinated by their accounts of what happens. But because you can't really predict or control what happens in there, although it's a very corrective, healing, beautiful experience, even those kinds of experiences can elicit memories that are more challenging. One participant shared that overall it was a very positive experience for her, but it triggered some challenging memories while she was pregnant with her child. But that she was able to be still contained and come back to the present and ground herself. So it wasn't overly, traumatic or difficult, but it did trigger some of those memories for her. Other people would just say it was cool, it's aesthetically pleasing, they like the pleasant environment, the smells, the visuals. Everybody takes a little piece of something different, and that's the beauty of art, right? It really evokes your personal experiences, and you're engaging with it based on the history of what you have in your body, and it activates or elicits, awakens those parts of you.
It's I just wanted to reiterate it. It's really amazing. So I'm wondering, you came back to Sofia for your MACP program, and then now you have this, first launch, the first impression project. Do you think Sofia be part of your journey, has contributed to what you do right now?
Oh, absolutely. I would say so. Much like life, there were ups and downs, there were challenges, but it ultimately created a platform, framework for me to explore. Didn't try to fit me or any of the concepts that we're exploring into a box. It was an incubator. It wasn't just open-ended. It did provide some grounding, some containment through the academic rigor. But I never felt like the learning was dictated. It was very much evoked. It was a bottom-up approach a lot of the times. I remember the creative expression class, Nikki Kettner's class, was one of the most profound for me, and it was highly experiential, highly embodied. So that was very different. It created a more robust learning experience, and I got some of that inspiration, and I channeled that into the groups that I run, maybe the creative expression circles, the drum circles, the youth groups that I run, the listening circles that I run through the nonprofit. So it was a very multifaceted approach to education. I mean, I even learned Aikido and the concepts of, the 4 elements and how that plays out, and I actually use those concepts when I do family therapy with clients and their families now. So it really stayed with me. So definitely it was part of my journey.
I'm so glad to hear that. It seems like you have very supportive team of peers and your instructors while you were at Sofia, and now
Sure.
you're doing what you're passionate about. And then thank you so much for your support to this global mental health conference. By exhibiting this, it's definitely like a very impactful way to give back to your alma mater. And then thank you for your contribution. And then I wanted to know, do you still have like connections with your peers, like when they were in MSCP? Because I know that it was definitely a rigorous program. It's MACP, you need to like fully committed to that program, right? So you have like support from your peers. Do you still have some connections with your peers as well, like for now?
I do, to a couple of my cohort mates. So in the middle of the program, the pandemic hit, so that kind of disrupted it a little bit. But we stayed in contact through social media, through different meetups. A couple of them I still see in person. Again, like I said, they're different parts of the world, doing different things. And a couple of my friends from the MATP actually that I met back in 2015, 2016, I still keep in contact with.
Well, that's good. So if anyone who's looking for either transpersonal psychology or MACP, and based on your personal experience, what would you tell them about Sofia? How are you going to say about Sofia to them if they're looking for a psychology program?
I say keep an open mind, expect the unexpected, be prepared to work on yourself. It's not just an intellectual exercise, it's a transformative, whole person embodied experience. And if you're prepared for that, if you're willing to take that dive, then it's the right place for you. It's not without its challenges. Nothing is perfect, no institution is. But if you're willing to dive in with your feet first and just go in and experience a journey, then make that choice and dive in. So Kairos is essentially a creative mental health endeavor. We aim to change the mental health discourse through the arts, education, media, community experiences, and of course immersive experiences now. There's 2 main pillars. There's the publication end, and then there's the experiences end. The publications consist of, like the word suggests, published articles that talk about the human condition from 7 different perspectives, anywhere from self-mastery to more transpersonal topics, spiritual topics. But whole person mental health is the cornerstone of the publication. So 7 different portals to the publication, and we have writers from all over the world contributing to that publication, so it's a pretty robust community. There's media, so interviews, different videos, and in the future podcasts perhaps that will contribute to the publication. And the experiences and immersive experiences like this and community listening circles where we're really engaged with the local community and the different neighborhoods of Los Angeles, and hopefully we can spread beyond that. So we'll see what the most relevant issues and topics are to people, listen to them, and see how we can best engage with them and create circles, healing discussions. We've also done virtual workshops in the past. For example, one of them was called Beating Burnout. It was a presentation on how to identify the symptoms of burnout, how to combat burnout once it's here. So it was a workshop with different coping skills and techniques to explore to recover and go back into wholeness and alignment. So we have different endeavors that we do at Kairos.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jaspr, for today's interview, and then we appreciate you by being such a exceptional alumni.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate being here.
Thank you.